Hi, this is DC Douglas. You might know me as the voice of Albert Wesker, or of Legion, or of Chase on Rescue Bots. And you are watching Toy Bounty Hunters Web TV.
Hello everyone and welcome. This is Manny from Toy Bounty Hunters. Today we have a special treat for you all. We have DC Douglas in the house with us today.
Just so you know, I only 7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I have for this interview. They made me do that. And by the way, when you say special treat, it sounds like you're all like little kittens and doggies. And I'm getting the treat that you're going to eat up. Okay.
Maybe. But he's graciously given us some of his time. Got a couple questions for you, DC.
All right.
Again, thank you so much.
Please.
I'm so happy that you're here. First and foremost, just a quick overview for those who are watching who aren't familiar with your other roles aside from Albert Wesker.
No. Yeah, it's probably a lot of them.
Well, mainly in like...
Oh, you want me to do the overview?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to do the work. This is your interview, buddy.
Yes.
Where's the package that rolls before I talk? You might know me from Legion and Mass Effect 2 and 3. And I also played Tactus and then all the Geth actually you ever hear are usually is my voice. Not usually, is. I was Raven in Tekken 6 and in Street Fighter X Tekken.
You're good.
Yeah, I need to go to IMDb. What are the other ones that you would? Chase on Transformers Rescue Bots on the Hub, and then I've also done like a lot of commercial VO stuff. There was a celebrity campaign for Geico years ago that I did that had Little Richard and those people. I was the tag announcer on that, and then as on camera. I mean, I've just done various shows. The last 2 years would be like Two Broke Girls, Criminal Minds, Hot in Cleveland, Workaholics, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
all really good stuff.
And then a lot of theater that nobody saw.
So I wanted to go ahead and start off first and foremost, DC. After the success of the character of Albert Wesker in Resident Evil, did you ever manage to play any of the games that you actually voiced, or were you able to actually go through them?
You see, because I wanted to be able to go and play the video games, but the problem is that I tried. Before I had been in those games, I had tried to get into doing video games, and I started with Grand Theft Auto, probably not the way to do it. And I did like a half hour, and I just it was gray brain. It was like I felt gross. And I just felt like the game is fine. It's just that I felt like it's weird to put me in a nauseous place, probably because of all the driving. And so I gave the PlayStation to my neighbor, and I said, yeah, I don't think I can get into this. And also, I'm kind of OCD, so I'm always working on my career or website stuff or that kind of thing. And then so I've not. But what I did do is I went and I was told by friends who knew the game and all that how big it was, and that was a surprise. And then of course getting the cutscenes, having people send me the cutscenes, I was like, oh wow, that's when I really had a blast seeing that finally come together. And right now I'm working on a huge game. Not necessarily a different kind of genre, a sports genre game, but it's huge in that it's performance capture. So it's the mocap stuff, but it's also the facial capture stuff and the voiceover all at the same time. Basically, like doing theater in the round with a Steadicam following me in a close-up, and that's been fun. And that I can't wait to see because I've probably done 60 pages of dialogue.
Wow.
These scenes, and it's pretty fascinating. So it's a merging of doing like a film, doing a stage play, and doing a video game all in one. So I'm looking forward to see that stuff. But yes, I do see the cutscenes. And like Mass Effect 2, especially Mass Effect 3, when I saw the cutscenes from that, I was really blown away because the technology had gotten so much better, and the production they put into it, for Legion's spoiler alert, deaths plural, was just so heart-wrenching. So
it is. It sounds pretty intense, man. That's a lot to go through. You're acting, they're getting the voice inflection, and you're moving around.
Well, no, if you think about it, it's just getting back to it's a lot to go through. It's getting back to what the root is, being on stage and just it's 360, three-dimensional all you. That's where it begins. And what's weird is that voiceover became this thing where it was just our voice and just what we did with the texture and the inflections, and you hoped that whatever they were doing with the body later would match up to it or whatnot. So this is just getting back to the root of it, which actually in some ways makes it easier. the road between there and what I'm doing right now was really difficult. So, for instance, doing Wesker in Resident Evil 5, they had Ken Lally does the body of Wesker in that. And then they had me when I came in for the voiceover, but they had me do the facial mocap for it. But it was at the point in the technology where it couldn't capture the little subtle things that you do with your face. And so I had to be very exaggerated with my expressions, but keep my voice like this when I'm doing all the time. It was so bizarre. And when we're doing voiceover, whatever the efforts and things that we're trying to do, we do weird gestures while we're talking, and things that get us into it. But they had the 30 cameras or whatever it was, and the lasers pointing, and it's like, I had no gestures. So you have to do like this and do it was very difficult. So cool thing about the game I'm doing right now, I'm sorry, I'll shut up soon.
No, you're good.
I had a lot of coffee, no sleep, and I want to talk. But what I'm doing now, I just want to say what's cool about it is they do this face modeling. So there was one day where I went in for like 15 minutes. They took like 100 pictures of my face, and they said, because my face will be in the game. So when you play my character, or you see my character, it'll be me. So I'm going to see a virtual version of myself. I'm very excited because now it's like I'm like some famous sports guy or something, so who gets to be in a game.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's very cool. I like that. I wanted to go ahead and go on. It's with that, you describing the whole nuances within that. What do you feel was your most challenging role in your voice acting career?
My voice acting career.
Yeah.
It's always a challenge because first, you interviewed Scott McNeil, and I mean he's got 100 different voices. He does impersonations. People I'm on Transformers Rescue Bots. Maurice LaMarche does these impersonations, and he's got all these characters. Steve Bloom is another one who's just got all these voices. I'm not one of those guys. I'd like to be, but I'm lazy. And I also have an on-camera career, so I kind of in an on-camera, they're never going to cast me, in one of those extreme voice characters. So I've never really gone out of my way for that stuff. It's kind of bad. It's bad. So if you look at a lot of the voices I've done, they're kind of all within a certain range. So I've never had to really go way out of my box. So the difficulty of a voice would actually more be about pleasing the producers. And in that realm, it would be Resident Evil, because when I did Umbrella Chronicles, I was supposed to be doing matching how Peter Jessup had done Wesker, who he had created a really unusual accent and marbles in the mouth kind of quality. Then when I went to Resident Evil 5, I thought I had got his voice down, and they played Richard Waugh, who's done more, at that point I'd done more of the Wesker's voice. So then I had to kind of change and go do that, but then of course the character's altering, and then I'm trying to put my own stamp on it, and then there's 15 people in that booth that also are throwing their thing at it, and then there's a language translation thing because a lot of them are Japanese and all. So that was the hardest of all of them. So,
wow! So they're all sitting there watching you while you're trying.
Well, half of them are in another room listening to it or watching on monitors, and then they're also calling in and saying, I can't do Japanese, so I won't even try because it'll come off really offensive. But they come in and they say their thing. Then the translator tries to explain it to Liam, who was directing, and then Liam then translates it into directing language for me. So
no pressure.
Yeah,
no pressure.
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, I've got my hands down here, and I'm going like this, and I'm trying to keep the voice like that. It was a very, very strange thing.
So, have you ever actively requested a role? To play a specific character in a game or an anime, for example? Have you ever been like, I want to do that character?
No.
Never?
Because I'm not a pig. No, here's the thing is actually there's a fan on Twitter, Nathan Narain, I think I'm saying that right, who asked me if I had been in The Walking Dead. I said no, and then he started a petition, and then I was like, well, you know what, I would like to be on The Walking Dead. So I helped push the petition and all that. It didn't work out, unfortunately, at least so far. But so at that point, I started going, yeah, I want to roll on that show, but that was like an on-camera thing. But as far as at one point somebody said, are you, before RE6 had come out, they were like, do you want them to bring Wesker back and all that? And I go, yeah, if they have him back, of course, I'd love to voice him again. That would be great. And then it got written up, the way they wrote it was a little out of context, sounded a little strange on their blog, that then got picked up by some blog in England that said, Wesker voice actor demands role in RE6. And I'm like, what the and I'm like, gotta start writing a blog post to tamp this down. It's like, so that whole echo chamber and everything gets so distorted on the internet.
Wow.
So, but no, I've never requested that. I mean, I always say like Mass Effect 4, I know that they're planning, and but it's going to be in a whole other part of the universe. I'm just hoping that they put the Geth in, because I'm the voice of the Geth, Legion or anybody. If it's a Geth, it'll be my voice. So I'm hoping there's Geth in Mass Effect 4, because I'd love to come back and do that. I just think that game is so great. And of course, if Wesker was brought back, I'd love that too. Can you tell? I've had a lot of coffee and 3 hours sleep. I can't even put 3 fingers up. I put 2. That's how tired I am. This finger can't come up.
We'll count the thumb.
I can't believe it. I am actually delirious. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm going to do a panel after this. Woo!
They say that's where the good creativity comes out from.
The panels?
No,
Oh, see, that's what are you talking about? Oh, yeah, maybe.
So, in an interview that you did for the fans, you said that there was some controversy when you were brought on to do Wesker's voice in place of Richard Waugh. Do you have any, would you like to, get into a little bit more details about that, exactly what happened, any stories behind that?
Oh, all those guys that didn't want me? No, I'm kidding. Do I want to? No, I mean, it's here's the thing. Like, listen, I think it's great that fans love their voice actors, and I think the companies who make games now are more aware of the fact that that the fans don't like it when they keep changing up the voice actors. The reason that was changed up was strictly logistics. It's the production had been in LA, then had moved to Canada for some games, and that's why Richard Waugh was used. He's a Canadian actor, and he's based there. Then they moved it back to Los Angeles, and so at that point they went with Los Angeles actors. So I mean, that's essentially what it was. I mean, sometimes they could pipe them in from studios. It also could be about availability, things like that. It's also union stuff. So I don't know if he is SAG. I know he's ACTRA. I'm not ACTRA, so I couldn't do a Canadian project. That kind of a thing. So so there's a lot of things. But listen, but I think it's great that and he's a phenomenal actor. He's an established film and TV guy, and he does great voiceover stuff. And he basically laid the foundation of Wesker. So I mean, hats off to him, and then hats off to those fans. Yeah, they were upset at the time, but I don't blame them. So yeah,
I think you did a pretty good job. It quelled.
A little bit. Well, they came to see my panels and saw, hey, he gets tipsy and he's fun.
So were there other instances in which maybe something like that had occurred? Did you ever have another situation where you had another established character and something like that happened? Or it's just simply with the...
I'm trying to think. No, the beauty is Mass Effect is Legion had never spoken before, so or the Geth had never spoken, so that was nice to be able to be the first of that voice. So I want to say, I did... Tekken doesn't necessarily have the voice actors, because it's more of the fighting and whatnot. So I don't think they were as upset when voices changed, and that was the thing of them coming from Japan and then doing it in LA. And that one I like. If Raven comes back, I actually don't even think I would be their voice again. I don't know. It depends on who's producing it and all that, because there's not as much of a fervor of keep that voiceover actor with that voice. I just found out today somebody brought in some signing things for Soul Calibur 4.
Yeah.
And I know that I went in and I had done a session for it doing Sephiroth, and so there's a credit on IMDb, but then people are going, you're not the voice of Sephiroth in Soul Calibur 4. I'm like, I just know I did a session. I don't know. And then finally, my liaison here, wonderful gentleman, explained to me that it's the DLC where you can choose the voice. You can create your thing. Are you dizzy? No, that's the wrap-up sign. But anyway, so he told me that there are 4 voices, and so I'm just one of those 4. I'm number 4 actually, or something, which would make sense. So, but in that case, there you go. Is the voice that important? At that point, you can choose whatever voice you want. So, really, I'm meaningless to people. So I guess we have to wrap up.
Well, it was great.
Was it really?
I liked it.
I think this is a little bizarre.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm really happy. I mean, it's great. You are so informative. That's what I really.
Oh, well, good. Well, thank you. All right.
So, yeah. This is Manny signing off for TBH again. DC Douglas people, applaud from your monitors.
And visit DCDouglas.com if you want to.
Do it. All right.